Hello, what is up? I still haven't figured out how to start these videos without being weird. But it's me, Maggie, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I'm super passionate about, and like many of you, I'm sure are, which is the subject of travel and the importance of it, what it does for us, and this is something that, man. I've done a lot of traveling. I think the more I travel, the longer the list of places I want to go gets. You know, the more we see, the more we crave. There's so much in this beautiful world, and I want to see it all. But in my experience, I do want to share some of the things that I've learned from my traveling. It was I've always had this like urge within me to explore, to adventure, and to go out in the world. When I was, I mean, well, a few years ago, I had this plan, and my friends told me I was crazy. My mom, when I told her what I was going to do, she was just worried sick. And my boyfriend at the time asked me, like, how the hell could I do this to him? And at 23, I quit my at a comfy government job. I quit that. I broke up with the boyfriend. I took my life savings and I moved to Chiang Mai, Thailand. It was just me, my two backpacks. I had one strapped to my chest, the other one to my back. And I still remember stepping out of that red tuk tuk. And as my feet hit the pavement, I just remember thinking, holy shiza, like I'm here and I'm all alone. And this intoxicating brew of freedom and nervous excitement just welled up within me. And my plan was to live and volunteer in Chiang Mai for 6 months. But what started as a 6 month volunteer trip turned into this just spontaneous year-long adventure of solo backpacking 9 different countries in Southeast Asia. 9 different countries where I understood none of the languages, where I navigated confusing public transportation systems, survived on about $10 US a day, wore the same 5 shirts for months. And I rarely had working Wi-Fi. I confronted some pretty shady situations. Um, but I learned a lot that year about myself, about the world. I think travel has a way of doing that, a way of flaying you open and making you more receptive to life. Travel is very important in that sense. It can be a challenging and wise teacher. So when I think of traveling and why it's important to me, I think 3 words kind of emerge, and I call these the 3 C's of travel, and I want to share them with you guys. So the first one is curiosity. When I was in Malaysia, I remember walking out of my hostel one morning, and I stopped, looked to my left, and looked to my right, and thought, today I choose left, and so I went. And much of my days were spent this way, just aimlessly wandering the streets with no plan, just following my nose, my eyes, my ears, in whichever direction they felt drawn. And it was in this way that I stumbled across the Capitan Keeling Mosque. And it was there that I met a young woman about my age. She dressed me head to toe in her traditional wear, and she sat with me as I proceeded to ask her about 100 questions related to her experience as a Muslim woman and how she really felt about her hijab. And I learned from her. See, I'm not a religious person, but I was curious. And at that point, I'd been traveling long enough to realize how little I actually knew and how much there was to learn. That curiosity has driven me to see things from a different perspective, to cultivate new relationships, to try new things, and ultimately brought more excitement and more joy into my life. Now, the second C is courage. Okay, travel can make you brave if you let it. being in a foreign country, there are bound to be things you've never tried or done before. And I don't know, maybe it's because you're so far from home, or maybe it's because the charismatic street vendor is egging you on, but you are more likely to say, F it, let's do it when you're traveling. I never thought I would stick a deep fried tarantula between the gaps of my teeth, nor did I ever think I would jump rope with a blazing rope of literal fire, or that I would spend the night suspended in a hammock in the midst of the Cambodian jungle. But travel makes you brave if you let it. Brave or stupid, but either way, it makes you more willing to step outside your comfort zone. And when we step outside our comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. We learn and expand, which allows us to be more and offer more to the world. Now, the third C, and my personal favorite, is connection. See, staying in hostels, couch surfing, roaming the streets, there was always a possibility for connection. I made new friends everywhere, every day. But my favorite friend would end up being a young man I met while volunteering. And when I first met Mai, I was working at a anti-human trafficking NGO for boys. He was maybe 14, but he couldn't really say for sure. What we did know, though, is that he and I understood nothing of what came out of the other's mouth. But we would just laugh for hours at just how inaccurate Google Translate was. We'd ride bikes, kick a soccer ball around, stuff our face with Oreos. And we didn't always understand each other, but we understood we had a friendship. I mean, okay, as cheesy as this sounds, you never have to Google Translate a smile. Travel shows us that even though we may grow up worlds apart, we are more alike than we are different. That ultimately we all want the same things. And this brings more understanding, more compassion into the world, which we often have a shortage of. Travel helps us see just how interconnected we truly are. See, the thing about travel is it changes your mindset. You know, it opens you up to other people, other worldviews, other foods, languages, experiences, other ways of being in the world. And this isn't something that just turns off when you board your plane to come home. It becomes a part of you. And when your mind is open, you become more receptive to life, which brings more opportunities and experiences. And with that, wisdom, growth, understanding, love. Travel teaches us to say yes to life. It can inspire us, rejuvenate us, humble us. It can make us more independent and confident. At least it did for me. The places I've been, the people I've met, the experiences I've had have truly shaped me as a person. And I'm so glad I didn't listen to the people who told me I'd be crazy to run off on my adventure. Because the truth is, it would have been crazy not to. So go, travel, see the world, have new experiences. Where are you off to next?